I'm about to have chicken noodle soup and a grilled cheese sandwich. Rock on! Um, yeah, this isn't really a vlog per se, more as a slight update to something I said in a previous video. In a previous video, I talked about being able to interview Chris Lester, the author of one of my favorite podcasts, Metamore City. I did make that interview, Saturday night. We started at 10 and didn't really finish it until a little after midnight. Now granted, both of us only got about 45 minutes of audio out of the whole thing. It's just we were interviewing over Skype and recording double-ended using Audacity. And, because we were doing this interview so late, we were having a lot of problems with Skype, simply because there were so many people on the Skype server at night that it kind of will cause calls to drop and audio to lose. And so it actually got so bad that the last half of the interview, and you can probably tell by listening to it, the last half of the interview is just totally blind on my part, simply because we couldn't get an audio link established for more than like 2 minutes. And so at the end, I was typing my questions for him into the Skype chat, and he was recording his answer while I recorded my question. And so it's going to be like a bonus podcast for me, because I still, at this point, don't even know what half of his answers are. And hopefully it'll do really good, because apparently something's wrong with my computer. I tried to save the Audacity recording as like a raw recording before editing in the Audacity format, because that's what I do when I record. I'm recording the Audacity, then I save that, and then I export it. Well, I could only export it. I couldn't save it for some reason. It kept telling me the disk was full, even though I knew it's not. I mean, my hard drive is pretty full, and I need to do a routine maintenance on it, because I haven't in a while. But there's still 8 gigs of space left on my hard drive, and it still said I couldn't back it up. I could export it just fine, but I couldn't save the Audacity file, and so I'm hoping that it works. I'm really hoping that I can get it to work, because I went over Lester exported his and sent it to me, and I went over that. I went over like maybe a good 10-20 minutes of the audio myself to listen to his end, and his all turned out great. Now, it'd totally suck if I had all of his answers, but my questions disappeared because it wouldn't save right. That would really suck. Like a lot. Like a lot. Because it's... I mean, I could keep his answers and go through and re-record my questions, but, you know, it wouldn't be the same. Because, I mean, even though an interview with Chris Lester is always great, you can tell near the end where it's a blind interview, and I don't know if that degrades from the quality of the interview or not. I mean, it would in my experience, because I wanted everything to work, and it wouldn't. Yeah, I also said I was going to tape the interview. I couldn't, simply because the interview took so long, and because we were having Skype problems. What I was originally going to do is film the whole interview, and then take and cancel out the audio on the recording, and substitute it for the recording from the interview. And seeing as I had Skype problems and it ran too long, I couldn't. Because even though my director status on YouTube allows me to upload videos longer than 10 minutes, I didn't want to push it with a 45-minute interview. And I haven't really tested that theory, because all of my videos, my 2 videos that were over 10 minutes, are only over by about 20 seconds or so. So that's how things went on the Chris Lester interview. If you want to listen to the interview, because it's me doing it, or because you actually know who Chris Lester is, or you just want to expand your horizons a little bit, I will put the direct link to the interview over there. It's still... I pointed right, didn't I? Yeah, shit. So the direct link to the interview will be over there. See, I pointed right. I pointed the right direction this time. Yeah, it'll be right over there. Even though you could probably find it if you look at the link to my blogcast site anyway. But simply because some people are just tech-tards, and, you know, some people might think that my blog isn't really user-friendly. I wouldn't know. I seem to navigate it just fine, but it's my blog. So the link will be over there. And give it a listen, let me know what you think. And, you know, if you like podcasts already, then you'll have a new podcast to get into. And, seeing as I'm already on the subject of podcasts, I might as well go at it and talk about a couple more. Because, like, I listen to a lot of Metamore City. It's my second favorite podcast overall, My first one being Scott Sigler podcasts, you know, Nocturnal and Ancestor and Infected. He actually put out he released his book Infected on April 1st, and from what I've heard so far, it's a really good book. I'm only listening to the podcast version because I still want to be surprised with the ending. And my third favorite podcast, and the last one I'm going to mention now, because I'm pretty sure this video is long enough as it is. My third favorite podcast so far is Moravie Remastered, written by T. Morris. It's really good. Like Metamore City, the production quality on that one is really high, and it's amazing. Like, for example, like the very first episode of Moravie that I listened to, and you can tell the production value even from then with the music and the sound effects. Like, in the first couple minutes of the podcast, when the pirate ship is under fire, and you hear the cannon fire, and the deck is on fire, and the crew members are just running around trying to contain the fire. Like, when that audio came in on top of the story, you know, my jaw dropped, and I had goosebumps. Of course, it was probably because I was sitting in the same porch swing, and it was nighttime and cold. But the production value for Moravie is awesome, and I'll also provide the links to all three of those podcasts over there, and they'll also be in my blog, along with other links that Chris Lester provided during the interview. So you should definitely go check out my interview. And if you have an iPod or you have iTunes, you should definitely go check out those three podcasts I mentioned. And even if you don't, you can go directly to the sites I'm going to provide, and you can download the podcasts as MP3 and listen to them on your computer, on a CD, on whatever MP3 player you happen to have. And it's really great. I mean, you know, I got my iPod for Christmas, and I was just listening to music, and I discovered podcasting, and I've become a total podcast nut. I mean, like, and up until recently, when I got some new music, all that was on my iPod was maybe like 3 CDs, and the rest was podcasts. So podcasts are a really great thing, especially podcast novels. And I'm not going to elaborate anymore on that because it's discussed in the interview, so go watch it, because this video is probably too long as it is. Adios.